Zach Wilson, if Justin Fields isn't the Niners' favorite guy, it's Zach Wilson. What do you think of Zach?
Zach Wilson's a tough one. When you look at the tape, there are things that you can see that you can definitely like about the guy. I don't see quite the arm strength that everyone says. I hear cannon, I hear rocket, and I just don't see that. He certainly has the arm that gets the ball out to the receivers. He can make the throws, but how long is that ball taken to get to that receiver? I felt like I saw a lot of receivers slow down and wait for Zach Wilson passes. And I did see a lot of tight windows. I saw a lot of really nice throws with Zach Wilson. But I also thought I saw a lot of throws that were between, the 30 and the 30, midfield throws. I was trying to find a lot more red zone touchdowns from him, and I wasn't seeing that much on tape. I was seeing a lot of his receivers catch the ball, the 30, the 40-yard line, and making just, walk-in touchdowns with it. So I like to find, when I'm watching these, highlight videos, I will fast forward commonly to just try and look for the red zone videos to see how they're handling when your guys are all backed in and you don't have, the availability of your fast receivers to just break and get loose and be free. How do you work when you've got, in that compact field? And I didn't see a lot from on the field. I just wasn't seeing a lot from Wilson. I felt like a lot of his success was coming from the mid to 2/3 points of the field.
Right, because in the NFL, if you're going to be a guy who throws 30, 35 touchdown passes, you're going to have to be extremely proficient in the red zone. It's not going to be deep throw after deep throw like it was at BYU. Yeah.
Right. And in the NFL, I mean, it's the bend, don't break type defense. They're going to let you get down to the 20-ish or yard line or so, and then all of a sudden that defense is going to shore up and force that field goal. Yeah. It's the great quarterbacks that can get down to the red zone and find the receivers and make the touchdowns there. That's really where it's going to count. If you've got the fast receivers, if you've got the loaded team, it's easier to get that separation when you're throwing from your 30 out towards the 50 or 40-yard line. But down in the red zone, you don't have that luxury. You've really got to rely on your scheme, your vision, and really anticipation. That's what you're finding when you're in the red zone. Can that quarterback anticipate if that receiver is going to be, open in that short of a field?
That's an extremely nuanced critique of Zach Wilson that I haven't heard yet. One more question on Zach. You said you look for nuggets about a player's makeup and personality. Have you heard anything about Zach?
I have heard. I've read specifically that single report about him being kind of a spoiled brat. He's got the rich uncle, I think it was JetBlue or something along those lines. I've looked. I've really tried to find other reports that would substantiate that. Not ones that would say the exact same thing, but just something similar to it that would give some kind of report. And I haven't found it. That doesn't mean that one particular report is false or that it doesn't draw an accurate picture. I would have preferred to have found more. And when I say prefer, if that was the case, I would expect to see more of that. And I'm not really finding it. But again, that doesn't mean that it's not true. Someone said it. They had a reason for saying it, obviously. But anyway, I have not seen that, and specifically anything else about that on Wilson. The thing I will say about Wilson is that he had a lot of time to throw. When he would drop back, he just had lots of time to sit there and wait for those receivers to be open. He made some beautiful throws. I mean, I don't want to take that away from the guy. He throws some really nice passes into some tight windows. But when you're just sitting back there with no pressure and no need to really, move around in the pocket, it's a lot easier to make those kinds of throws. And so I wasn't terribly impressed necessarily with his throwing ability because he wasn't doing it under pressure. He would make some nice, moves, lateral moves out of the pocket. He is a good athlete. I do think there's a lot of good traits to work with Zach Wilson. But I just don't know what that guy's going to be like when he doesn't have a good offensive line. How's he going to be like when he's got the pressure in his face? I didn't see that. We don't have anything to base that on. He basically was just he might as well just been out there in shorts. He could have been a scouting combine, with the kind of adversity he was facing behind that offensive line.
Yeah, and I would also imagine that the speed of the game is going to be a little shocking for him at first. It's a big jump.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, absolutely. One thing I want to say is, on the negativity finding, when I start looking at a player and I start getting, somewhat excited about a player, the first thing I want to do is I actually go out and I try and find as much dirt on that player that I can, because I want to find that before I'm emotionally invested in a player. Because once you start liking a guy, you're going to kind of scan past those articles that might not, sound like what you want to read. Mm-hmm. So go and find the dirt before you, fall in love with a guy, because you're going to be much more objective at that point. And also, once you do fall in love with a guy, don't look past the videos that are not, glowing of him. You need to see both sides of it if you're going to stay objective of it. And you're going to find that, you might have a draft crush early on that you suddenly kind of fall out of love with, and that's okay.
And that's good advice for life too.